It's about that time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of City Views. My name is Jacques Williams, bringing you another episode brought to you by Toth Insurance Agency, located at 1151 East Main Street in Torrington. Better protection, better value. On today's episode, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking photography and art with Jaime J. Tilley. And his book that he has just released is going to be something that you're all going to want to keep an eye out for. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, bringing to you our guest on today's episode of City Views, Mr. Jaime J. Tilley. Good afternoon, Jaime.
Good afternoon. How are you, sir?
So far, so good, man.
Yeah,
It's nice to meet another brethren in the arts.
Well, thank you. I feel the same way.
You're bringing Torrington a real cool thing right now.
Thank you. I'm when you're out there just kind of doing things because you feel compelled to do it, you don't really think that anyone's going to notice. In fact, the title of the book is "In Case You Didn't Notice." So, yeah, it's nice to have someone look at it and say, "Oh, I like this."
It's always nice when someone appreciates your work.
Yeah.
Now, this work is a work of deep passion with you. Talk to our audience a little bit about the components of motivation that got you to work on this.
Okay. Well, initially as a photographer, I thought of photography as a means of documentation. You know, I grew up looking at photos in my grandparents' photo album and things like that. And so I always thought that, you know, you take pictures because you're at a birthday party or it's Christmas and, you know, you're documenting a moment in your life or something. And at some point, I started seeing things when I'd be out for walks and, you know, just a little splash of light and shadow here and there and thinking, oh, you know, that's really beautiful. I should probably take a picture of that. And, you know, I did that here and there over the years. Never really thought about it. It was more for me than anybody else. But last March, a year ago, actually, I had just come back from a week in New York City, and I'd really gone camera crazy for that week. I mean, New York City's very photogenic, and suddenly, pandemic, we can't go anywhere, we can't do anything. But I was super inspired from that week of taking pictures, and so I just started going out every day, you know, before breakfast to get the morning light, after lunch, after dinner, you know, 3 times a day sometimes with my camera, noticing where the sun came up, where the sun went down, where the shadows were, where the light was, where the color was, and all these things that it's easy to not notice. You know, I just kind of walked with an open mind. I didn't go looking for the photos. I kind of let them nudge me when they wanted me to take them.
Well, it sounds to me as if you're very understanding of the organic process.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not really a flash photographer. I like to use natural or available light. So I really was just, organic, because I've never had a lesson in photography. You know, there's always been cameras around in my life. I just, you know, I figured out what I think will look good, and luckily it seems to look good to other people too, I guess.
So your sense of perspective, how does that play into your photographic concepts?
Geez, I don't know. The key things, at least in regards to the stuff in the book, is like the subtitle is light, shadow, and color. Um, those were the things that kind of catch my eye, is certain qualities of light and shadow or color. But another thing that sometimes catches me is a sense of humor or something like that. Like, and I don't know if it's necessarily something that anybody else would get. But for instance, one of the photos in the book, I don't know if I can find it really quick here, but it's a photo. There's a school on Prospect Street. It's a religious educational center. And they had a sign on the wall that said reserved for clergy. And below the sign was one of those things that you put cigarette butts in, another thing that you get free magazines from, and a a power plug.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
So to me, it gives me a little giggle, a little chuckle. It's not
Yes.
any great joke. It's not any wonderful piece of art. But if it tickles me inside, that's enough for me to take a picture of it. Whether anybody else gets it, you know.
Is it not important that no one else gets it? I mean,
I think anyone that's creative, they want to be accepted. You know, I definitely want people to say, "Hey, I really get that," or I love that," or it it moved me, or it made me laugh. I think we all do want that. But if we put too much emphasis on that, then we're going to run around trying to please other people and lose sight of the voice that's telling us what to take pictures of. You know what I mean? Like
I do.
you can overthink something. You could go out there trying to overthink what would people like. What's going to get me 1,000 likes on Instagram? When maybe what you should do is listen to the still small voice inside you that says, "Hey, take my picture."
I think they call that intuition, and it's something that not only as an artist but as an entrepreneur, um, you have to develop those instincts. They just don't happen.
I
And
I guess so. A lot of these things that I've taken pictures of in this book, I spent a lot of years walking past. Even though I saw them, they registered in my mind as attractive or beautiful in some way. My overthinking brain said, "Yeah, but that's not worth taking a photo of." And what has happened over the past couple of years is I've learned that voice is, the sparkle or the nudge, whatever it is there for a reason, apparently. Um, you know, Picasso was Picasso because he listened to his Picasso. Not to compare me with him, but that's just the first person that popped in my head.
well, you're doing very well for yourself. So whatever you're doing, keep it up.
As I said, I'm trying to not overthink it. I don't necessarily want to use the word meditative, but it's the best thing I can think of. I just go out and walk, and I try to not look while at the same time looking. You know what I'm saying? Just being open.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm with you. The process is definitely necessary. As artists, we do strive to elicit a response, and I think that, and this is kind of like what I really enjoy about being able to interview guests on the show, because at times it ends up being a learning experience for me.
Mm.
And you know, I thought what you said was very poignant in terms of, um, you stopped thinking about it and just did it, and then looked back and saw what you had captured.
Yeah.
And maybe there is that process as artists, as we mature and as we grow in our artistry. that brings us to those mountaintop mountaintop experiences where our art actually defines who we are.
Yeah, yeah, I'll buy that. Sure, absolutely.
What you have done in this book, I don't know if you get the full impact of it, but you will, because
Hmm.
Torrington is going through a renaissance. Um, it's as many cities across the nation are doing in terms of using its resources to sustain its economy going forward. And to me, the challenges socially uh, that we're not sure how they're going to form yet.
Yeah,
And I think the artisans in Torrington, for the last 2 decades at least, have worked hard to make sure that those artistic endeavors make inroads in those social and cultural changes.
hmm.
I think that's where you're at with this book.
Well, yeah, I feel really glad to be here in Torrington because within months of moving here, I was meeting people. I was meeting painters and other visual artists and people that are running galleries and putting on shows, and people are doing things here. I mean, I've lived places where everybody just bitched about stuff. People are doing things here, and I feel like it feels like an honor to be able to be here and hopefully um, make some small dent, or and I shouldn't say dent because that may be taken negative, but maybe plant a few of my own flowers to help in the garden you know
I think it's important because Torrington is. Uh, I shouldn't say it's going through an identity crisis, but there are a lot of people in the arts community who are dedicated to make sure that art represents a large part of what Torrington's identity becomes. And I do believe that your photographs in this book will become a part of that unveiling that focuses on the arts and artists who are making a difference in our community.
well, I'm glad to be a part of it.
Jaime, we want to follow up with you
Okay.
um, and talk about the impact that your book is having in our community,
Okay.
and we look forward to hearing more from you in the not too distant future. And if you're interested in catching more valuable content on City Views, we encourage you to do so on our YouTube channel at cityviews-ct, or you can always check out our website at cityviews-ct.com.